Hey there everyone, here is your weekly gold, silver and platinum price analysis brought to you by Ainslie Bullion and the Gold and Silver Standard. My name's Joe, use the time codes below to click to your favorite metal. We'll do gold, then silver, then platinum. Of course, let's take a look at where we were last week. 1,910 US dollars. Roughly, of course, we're using the tradingview.com website, always priced in USD most of the time. We look at it in USD because it is the world's reserve currency, and this is the weekly time frame. Currently, so we were hovering around about 1,910 US dollars, and we were talking about this area of between 1880 to 1900. Right here, you can see that horizontal blue line, bang on $1,900 right there. We're suggesting that this area would be an area of support, probably coming down to test round about this area somewhere before hopefully bouncing off and back out of this downtrend line right here. Of course, we talked about our lower targets. If we were going to break through here, then we'd be heading down to, say, your 1860 area. But in the last week, where have we gone? Luckily, we have gone up. So this is the weekly time frame. We'll pop it onto the daily and let's have a look at the indicators as well. Let's see where we've come from and where we might go in the next week. So great to see that we did come down and test as support, as we thought we might, here at bang on pretty much 1900 US dollars. So a very clear level of support, and it was also a very quick wick down as well. This is on the daily time frame, so you can see that means that the buyers were more in control of the market. When you see a wick like this, just all the way down and quickly that those prices are eaten up, it means that buyers are really in control. And fantastic to see, we've seen it move out above and hold so far out above this downtrend line. This goes back to May of this year and through this point right here of July just gone. We did attempt to break out of it, but it was a failed move. Oftentimes from a failed move comes a fast move in the opposite direction. So the support level right here at 1900 and back out, and that's great to see. So far though, we have seen resistance at this other level I've had drawn in at around about 1,935 US dollars. But we're looking positive. So this is a positive sign. Very good to see. More likely than not, so I will say more than now, a more than a 50% chance that we're heading higher than heading lower. Okay, I really needed to see this confirmed as support before saying that. So I would say at the moment, more than 50% chance that in the next coming days and weeks, we are heading up to this next resistance point. I would say that would be the $1,960 level. What I would like to see for health of gold is hovering or coming back down to nowhere lower than the downtrend line right here, or around about the 200-day moving average. So that's around about 1,920 to 1,925. If you tested, came back down, so breakout and then retest this downtrend line, that's certainly a healthy retracement and a healthy correction. So that would just say that everything's going swimmingly. Breaking down further, if we come anywhere close to this 1900 level, then I'd say, we're heading back down to this territory. We'll wait to see what happens when we get there. But ultimately, what we'd love to see is a bounce off, I'd say, the 200-day moving average, and then onwards and upwards. So let's talk about the targets moving higher. If you're a regular subscriber to the channel, if you've been around for a while, I've had these drawn in for a while, these purple boxes, but this area here of 1,960 will be the next area of resistance, I think. Failing that, if we do just sail through, then I'm going to say right here at the $2,000 level will probably be an area of resistance, unless, and I'll pop it in right here and you can probably see it, right here at that 1980 level. So that's an actual area of resistance. So I love doing this on the fly. So I'm actually going to, in real time, amend this right now, because yeah, look, the psychological value of 2000, it's certainly been broken a number of times now, so you can't really call that the psychological value anymore. So on the fly, I'm going to get rid of that right now, and I'm going to lower this box to around about the 1980 level, 1980 to 1985. So actually for me, and I love doing this on the fly. You can see it in real time. The next resistance point after 1960, I would call around about 1,980. Sailing through that, if we sail through that in the next few weeks, then the big next resistance level is over the 2,000 mark, and that's at $2,050. So those are my next major targets moving higher. Definitely just got to see it get over that 1960 and that 1980 first. That is gold. Again, if we break down, we'd be talking about these areas here of 1880. I would suggest that if we come down to 1880, then because we've come down so low previous, come down to 1885, a $5 difference, more likely than not, then we take out 1880 and we can be coming down to this next major one at 1860. So for the next coming weeks, and again, we'll do this next week as well, major line in the sand moving lower, $1,860. Next major resistance point, $1,980. So we're in that range currently. Where do you think it's going? Do you think we are going to soar through or plummet back down? I guess that depends on really how much you've bought and how much you are wanting to buy, or whether you've done all your buying. If you've done all your buying, you just want it to continue to go up. If you're looking to get rid of some more dry powder, as they call it, you want it to tank for a little bit longer. So post a comment below. You want to buy more? Do you want it to tank? Do you want it to soar from here? So let me know your thoughts. Post a comment below. That is gold. Let's take a look at silver. Similar situation. We've seen a nice little rise. Is that a triple bottom? Can you call it that? Look at that right here. Let me pop that in. That's close-ish. It's around about that $22 to $22.20, $22.30 mark. 1, 2, 3. Could third time be a charm? Could third time support around about that early to mid $22 level be the one? So I'll pop that in here. So you can certainly see this rectangular box right here has been an area once now, twice now, and 3 times now, an area of support. That's why I had it drawn in between this level of 22 and 22.50. Very significant area of support, and it's so far shown that 3 separate times. Although great to see on the daily time frame on silver, great to see that this, again, just like gold, it was a spike down and we actually closed above it. So that's a great bullish sign, in my humble opinion. Could be completely wrong, not financial advice or that. But it's good to see that buyers were more in control of the market, and they soaked up that $22 to $22.50 price. So closing above. We have come up against the 200-day moving average on the silver price right here. And what I can see is a nice healthy, if we do come back down, you want to see it bounce off this area here, because that is the symmetrical triangle pattern. So we're back out of that, and that's good to see as well. So the big symmetrical triangle pattern, which we had broken out of, it was a failed move to break that infamous 26. So we broke back down into this triangle pattern right here. A failed move, another one. So a fast move to the downside. Another attempt to break out, which it did, and hold, which it didn't. So a failed move back down to this area. Another one. So maybe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is 5th time a charm this time? We can also take a look at the relative strength index as well to give us an indication on where we might go. But what I'd love to see is a test right here and then a bounce off. Now, my resistance levels that I've had drawn in for a while, we're talking around about your $24 to $24.50 level, and we're butting up again against this downtrend line right here. So we saw resistance here, and we saw it as clear resistance here as well. So that will be an area of resistance. So sort of floating around this $24.50 area I think is the major area of resistance. So that's what I'll call the major area of resistance right now, around about $24.50 US, that is. Breaking above, of course, you've got this big area right here of $26. I've spoken enough about this. I will put a link to a couple of videos where you can see how $26 level has been a massive area of support and resistance throughout, 10 plus years of the silver price. So it's a big level to get over and hold for a significant period of time. We're not quite there yet. That $24.50 area for me is the next major line in the sand moving higher. We've got to break out and hold above $24.50 in order for me to be confident to say we're going to make another run, and hopefully next time is the charm for $26. Breaking down, if this is not a triple bottom, if you want to call that, breaking down, I've got my level right here of $21.30, and you're also butting a bit up against the level right here of this uptrend line from the symmetrical triangle pattern. There's a whole bunch of lines, a whole bunch of boxes going on, so I hope you can follow it. Let's take a look at the relative strength index on the weekly time frame. Let's start with that. Go up to the weekly. So what you can notice right here on the weekly time frame, this is the relative strength index down the bottom right here. What you can notice is we are still above, and that's a good sign, still above this level of 42. This was an area right here, so it's remained support so far. We are not above this little trend line that goes through a couple of key points in the last number of weeks on the relative strength index. So we're not above that yet. We had the test right here, but it was a failed move, so we're back down. We're also back down below the relative strength average on the weekly time frame. So what I really need to see in order to be incredibly confident is on the weekly time frame, definitely a breakout above on the relative strength index, and then you can confidently say, oh look, the direction is moving higher, so that's good. So that's what we would want to see. So maybe still in no man's land at the moment, but same as gold, I'll just say more than a 50% chance that we see higher prices in the next coming days and next few weeks. If you disagree, post a comment below and let me know why. So that is silver. Let's take a look at platinum. Interesting. Let's take a look at platinum on the daily time frame. And we had been speaking about last week this gap right here. This gap, so we came all the way up to that $990 level, and then we looks like we closed for the weekend, I think it was, and then it gapped open. You got this big gap right here, and I thought that we might fill that gap, so we might come back up to this $960 level. So far, we've seen a beautiful move all the way from $890 all the way back up close to, but not quite to the 960 level. We have topped out so far at $950. Probably, I would say, based on this spike, probably going to see a 1 or 2 days at least red days for platinum, and I'd pop in an interim support level at, I would call it right here. Can you see this level right here around about 920? I'll call it there. Round about that support level, I would want to see it hold $920, bounce off, and then make its merry way on its way up to higher prices. Got to break through 960, and then we're coming up against this whole confluence of trend lines. Again, if you're new to the channel, I'll just show you very, very quickly. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I'll have to show you on the weekly. My regular subscribers have seen this ad nauseum, but very quickly for the newbies, the very long-term downtrend line going back to February of 2008. So that's the huge one which we have to get back out of and hold above. So that's on the weekly. Let's actually, while we're here on the weekly, let's take a look at the relative strength index. At the moment, we have broken out back above its average right there, so that's good to see. Direction, I'm going to call that direction indeterminate for the moment. I would really need to see it get above this halfway point on the relative strength index on the weekly time frame in order for me to be confident to say, oh, we're definitely heading onwards and upwards from here. So I'm going to say indeterminate for now, on the fence for platinum on the relative strength index on the weekly time frame. Let's quickly do the big macro and take a look at the monthly. I mean, it's great to see that we've had a spike down on the monthly time frame. So we spiked down at the start of September down to that 890 level. It's good to see, but I would suggest we're not out of the woods yet on the monthly time frame. Can you see right here? Because we haven't broken out above and held above the average on the monthly relative strength index, and technically it kind of does look like we're still trending down. Okay, we have to see it hold above this yellow line in order for me to be confident that we are heading onwards and upwards. But on the daily time frame, back down, you can see that we held, luckily, right here at 890. We held this level right here that I drew in last week of that 37 level. That was an area of support previously. It was support there. It was luckily support there. We've held that and we've broken through. I would suggest we're starting to get up into the overbought territory on the daily time frame. So I can definitely see, as I said, a couple of red days coming. Really want to hold that 920 support in order for me to be confident that we are going to potentially head higher, breaking through 920. We're going to head back down to that 900 level. If we come back to 900 here, odds are, because we tested it here, odds are the more times that you knock on a trap door, the more times it is likely, or the more likely it is to open and fall straight through. So if we come back down to that 900 and close below it, then I'd say we're coming down to that $850 level right there. So those are my targets for platinum. I think, again, in the next few days, couple of days of red. If I'm wrong, I will happy to be wrong, because if you own platinum, you just want to see it skyrocket. But again, just like silver and gold, maybe you're looking at purchasing more. The best non-financial advice, but the best thing that we usually can, suggest is a great thing for people to do, is to dollar cost average. Don't worry too much about where the price is going. Get your regular paycheck once every couple of weeks, or choose, a certain amount. I'm going to allot, X amount of dollars once per month, once per week, once every paycheck, for example, and put it into the precious metals, regardless of where the price is. And then you're dollar averaging your cost over time. So that's probably the best way to do it. But some people, we understand, have an extra bit of spare cash that they're waiting for a dip to greedily and hungrily grab it up. So that is silver and gold and platinum. Of course, head over to youtube.com/Ainslie Bullion for everything else that we do. Of course, our weekly special coming tomorrow. What will it be? You'll just have to find out. And of course, our weekly insights videos 2 or 3 times a week usually, of course, and click the subscribe button for, of course, the weekly technical analysis. Next week I might just be doing Bitcoin only, but you'll have to see what happens next week. Might go with the cryptos next week. That is all. Thank you very much for watching. Balance your wealth in an unbalanced world. Take care, and we'll see you next time.